The Oscar nominations were announced last week, but what has my attention are the movies and actors that got snubbed.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
Sony has dropped the first teaser trailer of Marvel's Morbius, and within that trailer, could it be teasing a possible live-action Spider-Verse movie? The Rise of Skywalker crossed 1 billion worldwide last week, but is it enough?
Piece of
It's a brand new year, baby. Let's talk about it! Well, it's Oscar season again, so let's get excited.
la 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 la.
And there were a lot of good movies that came out last year. And a lot of the Oscar nominations for Best Picture and Best Actor and Actress, I agree with. But there's a lot that I thought were completely ignored. And I just want to mention a few because, every year it happens. The Oscars just overlook certain movies and actors that I think deserve to be nominated. So I'm just going to name a few just so I can get it out of the way. As far as actors, I think Robert Downey Jr. should have been nominated for Avengers Endgame. Best Supporting Actor. Because I thought, especially towards the beginning of that movie, his acting was phenomenal. And I thought it would have been a nice gesture, at least for him to be nominated. For his achievement of Tony Stark and him playing Iron Man. And I thought in Avengers Endgame, he was definitely a standout. Above everyone else, and I think he should have been nominated. And I think Jennifer Lopez should have been nominated for Hustlers. I thought Hustlers was a very good movie. No, I honestly thought it was very well acted, and Jennifer Lopez's role in the movie, I thought was great. I thought it was probably her best acting I've ever seen her do. So I thought for sure she'd be nominated. I really did, and it was a shame that she wasn't. Shia LaBeouf in the Peanut Butter Falcon I thought was great, and I think he deserved at least a nomination for that movie. I feel it was kind of his comeback movie, man, because, he's lost, And I think people forget that he is a very good actor when he wants to be. And I think they definitely should have given him an Oscar nod. But Peter Nyong'o for the movie Us, I think was the biggest snub. I think the movie Us should have been nominated for Best Picture as well. The fact that it wasn't is criminal. And I understand the movie came out earlier in 2019, and that's probably why, but it's unforgivable. But her performance in that movie, the fact that was overlooked, she was tremendous in that movie. Creepy as hell. And, there's no excuse for it. No excuse for it. She should have been nominated. Absolutely. As for movies, I already mentioned the Peanut Butter Falcon and the movie Us. I also think Knives Out should have been nominated. I thought Knives Out was a great movie. One of the best movies I've enjoyed of 2019. And I thought that Rian Johnson did a tremendous job directing that movie. And I honestly think he has a franchise here. And I already heard that they're going to do a sequel to this movie. And, I could totally see a franchise being built on Daniel Craig's character alone in Knives Out and just continue making movies. So, definitely. I thought Knives Out should have been up there and been nominated for Best Picture. I think that's about it. There's probably more, but right now I just can't think of any. Sony released the first trailer of Morbius, starring Jared Leto. And as far as I know, I don't know much about the character in the comics, but he is a Spider-Man villain. And what's interesting about this, and I have to say, it does look better than Venom. I wasn't a big fan of Sony's Venom. I'm glad that it did well, and they're going to continue, that franchise. But I think that this movie could be better than Venom. It looks better anyway. But the biggest surprise in this trailer were the Easter eggs that were shown and that were revealed to us. In the end of the trailer, spoilers, Michael Keaton's Vulture showed up, and it kind of threw me and a lot of people off guard. So that was interesting. And also in that trailer, there is a poster. If you blink, you'll miss it. You have to pause it when you see it on YouTube. There is a poster of Spider-Man with the word murder written across. But it wasn't Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It looked like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And if that's the case, what does this all mean? I mean, is Sony really hinting at a future Spider-Verse movie? A real live action Spider-Verse movie? If they are, man, I'm telling you, that would be amazing. And I think if Sony is leading up to that, I think it's gold. And I really do hope they do that. I've said in my past videos that, you know, I was curious to see if the MCU and Sony were kind of thinking about that in the future. But, you know, there was no evidence to kind of support that. But in this trailer, I mean, I gotta say, it does look like that. I mean, I could be reading more into it than it really is, but maybe. And the Rise of Skywalker has crossed 1 billion worldwide. It happened last week, and you would think, you know, for any movie to cross 1 billion worldwide is quite the achievement. But in the Star Wars universe and in fandom, that apparently is not good enough ever for a Star Wars movie to just cross $1 billion. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a fan of the Rise of Skywalker. I was disappointed in the movie. I really was. I saw it 3 times in the theater, and it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. But that doesn't mean I didn't want the movie to succeed. Just because I didn't like it, that doesn't mean that, you know, there's people that didn't like it. And there's a lot of people that liked it, and I'm glad they enjoyed the movie. It's just, you know, not every Star Wars movie is gonna hit home, and that's just the way it is. But I do not like this constant outlook that these so-called fans often have about the Star Wars franchise. This movie made $1 billion. Okay? Before this movie came out, let's face it, I know a lot of people did not like The Last Jedi. For them, the movie ruined Star Wars for them. And it you know, because of that movie, there has been a lot of backlash with the fans. There's been petitions. There's been the Fandom Menace. If you haven't heard of the Fandom Menace, they're basically a group of people who have been basically crapping all over the Disney Star Wars generation and hoping that The Rise of Skywalker would fail in every sense of the way. Telling people not to go see this movie. Don't waste your time. Star Wars is dead. And because of The Last Jedi and how it split the fandom, and because of these crazed so-called fans like the Phantom Menace and, you know, everything this movie had going against it, people were saying that this would never hit 1 billion worldwide. It would never make 1 billion worldwide. Star Wars just isn't that popular anymore for it to do that. It's not, you know, the fans, we're not in that place, you know, the fans are not in that place anymore for Star Wars, for The Rise of Skywalker to make $1 billion. Well, it did. It made $1 billion worldwide. But, again, it's not good enough still. Now people are saying, well, why did it take so long to make $1 billion? This is Star Wars. Avengers Endgame made $1 billion over opening weekend. There's no winning. There's no winning. Look, I'll admit, Star Wars is not as popular as it used to be. Okay? We're never going to get back to that place 5 years ago when we were without a Star Wars movie for about 10 years. You know, Force Awakens came out, and it was massive, explosive. I mean, to this day, people often forget, to this day, The Force Awakens is #1 in the U.S. #1. It's not Avengers Endgame. People think it's Avengers Endgame because Avengers Endgame, you know, is the top grossing movie of all time worldwide, but not in the U.S. In the U.S., Force Awakens is still #1. But, you know, Star Wars just isn't at that place anymore. You know, it just isn't. It just isn't. You know, there's too much division in the fans, and you know, I just don't think it will ever get back to that place where it was, you know, the most popular franchise. Right now, it's just Marvel. It is. It's just Marvel. But just because Star Wars isn't the most popular franchise doesn't mean it still isn't any good. Because it is. I'm sorry. No matter how people want to slice it, the Disney era Star Wars, if you include the episodes, 7, 8, and 9. They've all made over $1 billion. And if you think that's a failure, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Let's just say this. I am just very happy right now that we're done with the trilogy going forward with the Skywalker saga. I'm glad we're done with that. We can just move forward to other things in Star Wars because there's so much more to explore. I'm really happy that we're going the Disney Plus route with these shows. Mandalorian is amazing. We're getting Obi-Wan. I mean, there's so much in the future for Star Wars that I'm very excited about, and that we can get past all this bickering and not compare anymore to, the old trilogy. It was the best, and the prequels. I'm done with that. I just want to move forward to brand new things that the Star Wars franchise has to offer. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a long time. It's a brand new year. I hope to do a lot more videos, and please feel free to comment below on any of the topics I talked about. And again, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will be back.